Hello everyone, welcome back to Chai and Book Girl. My name is Amanda and today we are in my kitchen and we are going to be making a fun and yummy treat for you to enjoy while you are reading your fun Camp Summerween books. So today we are going to be making crispy s'more treats. In my pot on my stove over medium lowish heat, I have 2 sticks of butter. And I'm going to melt those. I mean, this is just like kind of your basic Rice Krispie treats that everybody knows and loves, but we are going to be kind of putting a little bit of a spin on it. And we're gonna make them s'more crispy treats because that just fits in with our camp theme much better. And they're gonna be delicious. And it's going to give you that kind of messy, sticky finger, you know, that you get around the campfire when you're eating s'mores and you've got like chocolate and marshmallow all over, and it makes your fingers like all nice and sticky. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for with these. So I'm just gonna melt my 2 sticks of butter until it's all nice and melty. And that's just gonna take a couple of minutes. Now you can, if you want to, you can make this brown butter. And all that does is it's gonna add a little bit of nuttiness. Brown butter, you just kind of let it over melt, I guess. You're just gonna cook it a little bit past its melting stage until it foams up and it gets kind of a nice brownish, kind of, I don't know, coffee colored. Make these with brown butter if you wanted to, but I am not going to do that. I am just going to melt my butter. Then I'm going to add in 16 ounces or 1 pound of mini marshmallows. You could do the Gigantor marshmallows if you wanted to. I'm just using mini marshmallows because that's what I happen to have. And you want to melt these over low heat. If you try and do this too quickly, you could end up burning your marshmallows. And if you burn your marshmallows, your Rice Krispie treats are gonna be too tough and too hard. You know, when you bite into a Rice Krispie treat and it's like, and you're like, sorry with those sound effects, but it's like really hard to bite into, and it's like way too crispy. It's like almost crunchy. That's not good. That's not, I like mine, you know, nice and ooey and gooey. And that just means if your Rice Krispie treats are like that, that just means that your marshmallows have burned. So you want to make sure that you are melting your marshmallows nice and slow over low heat. And when they have started to get, you know, like 3/4 of the way melted, I'm going to take it off the heat because the residual heat will continue to melt the marshmallows and I don't want them to burn. So take it off the heat, continue to stir. Then what we're going to do is I have a cake mix. This is the Pillsbury Moist Supreme Devil's Food. This is just a normal box cake mix. And we are gonna add this whole entire thing right into our melted marshmallows. That's just gonna dump in just like this. And this is gonna add the chocolate component of our s'mores. And we're just gonna stir that right in to our melted marshmallows. And they're gonna become chocolate melted marshmallows. So just keep stirring until that becomes nice and smooth and you don't have any more powder from your cake mix, and that it's all nice and smooth. And that's just gonna stir right in there. Almost there. Okay, lovely. Okay, now I've got 6 cups of Rice Krispies or crispy cereal. If you wanted to, you could use Cocoa Pebbles or Fruity Pebbles if you wanted to, whatever you want. But I'm just gonna go traditional here, and I'm just gonna put in 6 cups of crispy rice. I'm just gonna stir this in. This part gets a little bit difficult, but just persevere. March on until this is nice and incorporated. And just until the crispy rice is nice and coated in the marshmallows. Okay, that's all mixed together. I have a 9x13 pan that I'm just going to lightly spray with a little bit of cooking spray. Let's move my Dr. Pepper so I don't get cooking spray in my Dr. Pepper, because gross. Okay. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my marshmallow and crispy rice mixture, and we're gonna dump it in our pan like so. Okay, now I have a glove on because what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put some butter on the sink. I'm going to put some butter on my hand, and I don't want the butter getting in my nails, but I'm gonna put some butter on my hand and then use my hand to push this into place. And I'm just gonna spread it around like that, and then that way it won't stick. Let's get it off the spoon here. That's perfect. And then we're just gonna press this into the pan. Now you wanna be somewhat firm when you're pressing this in, because that's gonna give structure to the Rice Krispie treat. And you don't want them to be, I mean, obviously the marshmallow, because it's sticky, is gonna help that have structure, but you wanna make sure that you push nice and firm so that it makes those nice kind of, not, I don't want to say dense because that's not what I'm looking for, but you want a nice firm structure to your Rice Krispie treat. So we're just going to push those in. Beautiful. Okay, and for our last step, I'm going to take this off really quick. For our last step, I have just a couple of graham crackers, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just crush these up with my hand and sprinkle these right on top. And this is going to be the graham cracker portion of our s'mores. Now I do kind of want to push these in because I don't want these falling off when we try and serve these. So I'm just going to kind of give these a little bit of a push just to get these in. Okay, perfect. So we've got marshmallow, obviously, which is indicative of the Rice Krispie treat, but is an integral part of the s'more. We've got chocolate from our cake mix, and now we've got graham crackers. So we've got a true s'more in our s'more Rice Krispie treats. I am gonna let these set up, I don't know, probably for a couple of hours, because I also want them to cool. I'm just gonna do that at room temperature. I wouldn't put these in the fridge if I were you, because they're probably gonna get too hard, but just on your counter, covered up, room temperature for a couple of hours, and then we'll slice into them and give them a try. So be back with you later. All right, everyone, we are gonna cut into these and see how they taste. These have been sitting out on the counter for about 2.5 hours now. Just enough time to cool and set up. Okay, here is what they look like. So chocolatey. It tastes like a s'more. Seriously, it's chocolatey, marshmallowy, obviously. And then you get the graham cracker on top. It tastes like a s'more. Hey, we did pretty good with that one, didn't we? Okay, here's to reading some good books. Hope you're enjoying Camp Summerween. Bye.